it looks like we are at the pinnacle of the Apple versus Epic saga. So, back when the original case was the verdict or whatever you call it, it wasn't a criminal case, of course, was handed down. There were 10 counts that Epic had brought up against Apple. Apple won 9 out of those 10 counts. But the one count that they did lose is a big one. It is it is for Apple to provide in the App Store. It's to allow developers to add links and buttons for external payment options.
Hmm.
Before, it was only
Apple,
Apple
right.
based payments that were allowed, nothing external, nothing outside of the Apple ecosystem. So the ruling from Judge Yvonne Gonzalez Rogers said that Apple must comply with her order to allow these additional links and buttons for external payments. And this has to be done by December 9th. So only in a few weeks. So what has happened is Apple is saying that integrating this into their ecosystem is going to take months to analyze, to figure out how it's going to work. It's going to take years to implement because it's so complex. And the judge is like, nah, you didn't do this appeal based on time. You did this appeal based on the fact that it wasn't valid. And she was like, you didn't say anything about time.
Hmm.
So I am not going to hear that, and you're going to have to comply with my orders by December 9th. But Apple has said they will appeal to the Ninth Circuit for a stay of the order because that's their only option at this point other than actually doing the implementation. So, barring any other type of stay from a higher court, Apple is going to have to allow for developers to add these additional third party payments. How do you think this is going to pan out?
Apple's gonna lose this one. They better be not better be lucky, but if this is all that Apple has to bear as far as responsibility as a result of this Epic Games thing, they need to consider themselves blessed. Now, of course, Apple is trying to say, oh, it's going to take a long time to implement, and they're, still trying to decry that, oh, it's going to compromise the integrity and the security of Apple payments, yada, yada, yada. That's just going to be something they're going to have to eat. Because again, if all they have to do as a result of this ruling is figure out how to include PayPal or how to include Square or how to include Stripe or how to include any other third party payment into the App Store. Like I said, consider themselves blessed.
Yeah, I think considering the 10 counts that they were up against, for them to win all of them except this one, I think, like you said, they got off lucky. I think because Apple is petty, I think they are only going to maybe make the links or buttons like a certain size. They have to be hidden in the corner. So I don't think there's any stipulations as to how these links or buttons are supposed to go into the app. But I think Apple is going to be petty and, say the buttons can only be 1 pixel by 1 pixel or something like absurd to make it difficult for people to use these external links. So
Yeah,
it
similar.
should be.
Let's say similar to how hard it is to unsubscribe in a newsletter email. That's how small these third-party payment links are going to be in the Apple
Yeah,
App Store. Look, I mean,
yeah.
I'm all for it. I would do it too, but again, be lucky. They be blessed that that's all they got to figure out.
Yeah, yeah. So it will be interesting to see if the Ninth Circuit is going to provide them with a stay. now that the judge said, well, you didn't ask for this stay based on the complexity of implementation. So they will likely use that as their excuse this time. And I think in the article that I read, I think this came from Colton Mack, that they mentioned it would take months for them to analyze it, and then it would take another 3, 4, 5 years for them to implement it. So we'll see. I'm sure this is going to be something that we hear about again in the near future, especially as December 9th rolls up, if they will get their stay. And if they don't get their stay, how petty they're going to be in the actual implementation.